Hello and welcome to a special episode of Geek Lunch Me. I'm your host as usual, Chris. Now, as you know, Geek Lunch Me means friendship. That's right, we're going to be drinking to our legs and swimming with bow-legged women as we take a look at The Shark is Broken, the new play that has just opened at the Ambassadors Theatre in the West End of London. Now, I was lucky enough to go and see the play a few days ago on a trip up to London. Now, originally it started off at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe back in 2019 and then was meant to come to the West End last year, but unfortunately even a giant man-eating shark has to give way when an international pandemic hits, so it was put back, opened a couple of weeks ago, but is now up there at the Ambassadors Theatre in the West End. And I just have to say it was absolutely incredible. If you're a Jaws fan, you owe it to yourself to go and see this show. Now, the play basically tells us the story of the three leads of Jaws and what they were getting up to in all the downtime when the shark was broken, which famously was a lot when they were filming. Now, it's directed by Guy Masterson, and it stars Dimitri Guritsas as Roy Scheider, Leah Murray Scott as Richard Dreyfuss, and Ian Shaw as Robert Shaw. Ian Shaw also co-wrote the play with Joseph Nixon. Now, Ian Shaw is the son of Robert Shaw, who famously played Quint in the original Jaws. All the cast does an incredible job. There were some moments, Leah Murray Scott in particular, as Richard Dreyfuss. Some of the mannerisms were absolutely spot on. There were times when he laughed or sort of made some gestures. Absolutely felt like you were watching Richard Dreyfuss. Dimitri Guritsas as Roy Scheider, very much playing the straight man, a bit like Brody in the actual film. He's sort of the straight man, is the brunt of a lot of the jokes. He comes out with a lot of interesting facts. He's very much the even kill in contrast to the other two who are sort of at each other's throats all the time. Very famously, Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw had problems on set, shall we say. The two did not get on set, and whether or not it was done deliberately, especially on Shaw's part, to get a better performance out of Dreyfuss, will be up for debate. Or whether they would just didn't like each other a lot of the time is a matter of opinion. Ian Shaw is the standout. I'd say as the son of Robert Shaw, with the costume and the makeup, he is a spitting image. But and there are times just his vocalizations, his mannerisms. It's just like watching sort of Robert Shaw in his heyday. I would say the whole show worth the price of admission just to see him perform the iconic Indianapolis speech in full. It sends shivers down your spine. Absolutely fantastic. Now, the set is quite minimal. It's a cutaway sort of section of the Orca, with the three of them basically most of the time just sitting in the cabin talking to each other. There's like a backdrop and some lighting, and I'm assuming sort of projection effects that just make it look like the sea and the clouds now going by outside. Very effective. From the iconic opening theme of Jaws at the beginning, it really gives you a sense of immersion. And it's strange. You're sitting there in a theatre. You've got a small section of a boat. It's a backdrop, but you totally get suckered in. The performances given by the three actors are so engrossing. The play it shoots by. It's only I think the performance is an hour and a half long. There's no intervals. They don't allow readmissances, so just take that into account if you go. I would also say don't worry if you can only get seats near the back. The Ambassadors is not a huge theatre. We were quite close to the back. We didn't pay a lot for our tickets, but the view, I think every seat has got a good view. I say it isn't very big. You can see the stage quite plainly. You can hear the dialogue absolutely fine. Seats are small. I will say that. I'm obviously not a big guy, but even I had to, you're sort of, you're all in together, very close. Obviously in these pandemic times, obviously wearing a face mask is recommended by the theatre. So, if you feel more comfortable, then that's absolutely fine. The script is very funny. A lot of the humour comes about from obviously events that we know have happened since. They're talking about Nixon, discussing Nixon at one point, and there's a joke about that there'll never be another president as corrupt as Nixon was. Take that whichever way you want. And there's sort of various gags like that. There's a lot. If you're a big fan of Jaws, name checking Brown and Zenek, the producers, Carl Gottlieb, the scriptwriter, and also appears. John Milius is mentioned when they're talking about the Indianapolis speech and how it's gone through all these different iterations and rewrites by various different people. So if you're a big Jaws nerd like I am, there's all these little references that make you smile. But you don't. On saying that, you don't need if you've just got a passing interest in Jaws or film production as a whole. I'd definitely recommend going to check it out. There are also some very very poignant, touching scenes where they're discussing sort of Robert Shaw's sort of borderline alcoholism, and then he talks about his father and the alcohol abuse that he had, and it's very very touching, even doubly so when you then consider obviously that this is Ian Shaw's family that he's talking about. It's either going to be very very cathartic for him to get all this out every night on stage, or very, and I imagine probably quite difficult for him at times as well. So it's a very very effective and riveting performance that Ian Shaw pulls off. His is probably the sort of big performance that holds it all together. He's got a lot of the best lines, a lot of the best jokes. Leo Murray Scott as Richard Dreyfuss also. So they're you could almost say the story is about the two of those and the arguments they have between each other. And as I say, Dmitry Gottschalk is as Roy Scheider is like he's sort of the even kill to these two sort of warring parties around him, sort of bringing in some sort of much needed balance. So I can't recommend the show enough. If you're a big fan of Jaws, it's a must. If you can get to London, the show is running until 15th of January. I do recommend, it's recommended for 14 years upwards. There is a lot of swearing in it, and obviously alcohol and drug abuse is discussed a lot. So depending on if you're taking kids, or depending on your sensibilities, they bear that in mind. You can grab a program for a £5. It's very good. Got some lots of great photographs in it, and bits about obviously the production of Jaws itself and the play. The shark is broken at the Ambassadors Theatre in the West End of London. I would absolutely check it out. Whether or not it will tour the country, I don't know. It's a sort of show that could be put on in sort of smaller venues all around the country. So hopefully, if you can't make it to London, it will be coming your way in the next year or so. It will be a fantastic thing to see. So thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you could. Help out the channel a great deal. So until next time, take care. Farewell and adieu to you, fair Spanish ladies. Until next time, eat, geek, and be merry.